It is a 5-star read for me. This month I had 4 5-star reads. You to that. I really need a love story, something that stands the test of time, something similar to like Elizabeth and Darcy's kind of love story, but in present day, preferably with people that look like me, and Tia Williams delivered. But if the people don't necessarily look like me, you could also, this is also a good one. But yeah, however, I was struggling listening to the audio because apparently I don't like to listen to smut, and this book had a lot of it. So I was like, Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Tyler Price, and on my channel we talk about money, productivity, lifestyle, books, and anything else you want to talk about. So today I am doing my February wrap-up. I'm super excited to get started with the February wrap-up in March, the first week in March. Today's the 4th, by the way, and this video should go up tomorrow. So yay for me for not waiting 20 days like I did last month. Or was it 25? February was a rough month, and I'll talk about that in a second. But so I am here doing the wrap-up. I read some wonderful books in February. Some of my top, one of my most anticipated read, I read that, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to share that with you guys. So if you're interested, if this is what you're interested in, please stick around and let's chat about what I read in February. So I had a good reading month, but it didn't start that way. I started my month with a really bad reading slump. And I did a video on it, I'll link it below, of how I got into a reading slump, what I did to get myself into it, and what I did to get out of it. So for the first half of the month, I didn't really read anything. I read 1.5 books. And that half of a book I still haven't finished. It's Twisted Love. I'm still reading it. I'm not done with it. So that won't be part of this wrap-up. But the second half of the month was great, and given that we had an extra day during the month, I did maximize that day and got some reading in. So in terms of what I read in February, I read fiction, romance, dark fiction, historical romance, or dark romance rather, historical romance, and one thriller. I'm not a thriller kind of girl, but Frida McFadden, oh my God, homegirl brought it on, and I will be reading a lot more of from her. In fact, I'm going to read her entire backlist. So the first book that I read was my anticipated release, one of the anticipated releases for this first quarter, and that is Tia Williams' A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. And it still got a Target sticker on it. I need to remove it. It doesn't bother me, to be honest with you, but I may remove it. This book was so good. I even annotated it. And I went into this book blind. Tia Williams is an author buy for me, so I didn't have to even think about what the book was about. The day that the book came out, I ran to Target and purchased it. And so I didn't read the jacket to see what it's about. And I'm so glad I didn't, because it was just so wonderful to go into it blind. It's definitely not a traditional love story. So if you're looking for a traditional love story, this is not it. It reads more fiction, contemporary fiction, or literary fiction than anything else. But it was so wonderful. And I'll tell you why. I feel like Ricky Wilde in this book fell in love with 4 different people. So she fell in love with her potentially fairy godmother. She fell in love with a new best friend that she found. And she fell in love with New York City, Harlem especially. And then she fell in love with the main male character in the book. But this book, it was so beautiful, and it was so powerful, and just had me feeling so many different emotions. And I'll kind of insert a video of me when I finished watching when I finished reading the book. I'll link it now. As you can see, I was very emotional. This book just took me to a lot of different places, and I was not disappointed. So this is a 5-star read for me, and really, if I did 6 stars, which I don't do, is a 6-star read. It's probably the best book I've read so far this year, and I've read about 30 books. This book just was everything. It gave me everything, and it's just Tia Williams understood the assignment, and she delivered. But I don't want to spoil this, so I don't want to tell you what it's about because it's gonna spoil it, and I don't want to do that. But I want you to go into this. If you love her writing, go into this and just read it. And I'm telling you, I mean, I annotated the heck out of this book because, in addition to a lot of you know, with the storyline, there was so many things that I was just like, oh my God, love this. This is great. I need to know this. This is good information. And also, if you lived in New York, especially if you lived in Harlem, it's just, even some of the locations where I've gone to by before, I didn't know what the history behind it, because this book takes you to present day and then also the Harlem Renaissance. I'm telling y'all, if you have not picked this up yet, you really need to. It's so good. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. So that was the first book that I read that was a 5-star read. And then the second book that I read that was a 5-star read was Love and Other Words. And I don't have my copy. Where is it? I thought I had it. Oh, there it is. Love and Other Words. So this is a reread for me. I also annotated this. My book club was having a book club meeting, and so we read this. And I mean, Elliot and Marcy, dual timeline. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful love story, beautiful book. I think that if you just want just a love story that stands the test of time, these 2 books definitely do it. Like, if you want, and that's what I was looking for. I was really looking for a love story that really would stand the test of time. I had posted on my community page on YouTube that I really need a love story, something that stands the test of time, something similar to like Elizabeth and Darcy's kind of love story, but in present day, preferably with people that look like me, and Tia Williams delivered. But if the people don't necessarily look like me, you could also, this is also a good one. But yeah, these might definitely 2 5-star reads for me. And then moving right along, I'm trying to keep my videos under, I don't know, 15 minutes because my sister said my videos are too long. I think she's the only one that watches them, to be honest with you. The next book that I read, because again, I had this reading slump, and historical romance is always, they are my favorite genre. Like, is that a genre or subgenre? My favorite is, like, I would read historicals. Like, if that's all you tell me I can read, I'm fine with it because I just love it so much. And so I read the Notorious Lord Knightley by Lorraine Heath. And this came out last year. And the 3rd book actually came out already. It's called In Want of a Viscount. And I'll link it up here. And I'm actually planning to read that. Maybe in March. I'm not so sure. March is Kennedy Ryan month on my channel. So I'm reading everything Kennedy Ryan. So I may not get to read other stuff because I want to read at least 2 or 3 of her books. But I may get to this. We'll see. But not this one, the other book. So the Notorious Lord Knightley is really a second chance romance book. It's a second chance romance between Knightley and Regina. So Regina and Knightley, she was a biblo of her father's. And if you read historical romances, you know what biblo is. If not, Google it. But she was a biblo, and so, but her father still loved her enough that he brought her into society and wanted her to have a good match. Anyway, so she was supposed to marry Lord Knightley, who I think would eventually be a duke, but right now he's an earl. I think he's an earl. Yeah, but he would inherit the dukedom when his father passes away. So they were supposed to get married, and they fell in love, got married. They were supposed to get married. And on the wedding date, he did not marry her. And so she goes away, disappears for so many years, and now she's back. He sees her at a gambling hall where she was gambling, and he just kind of goes to her, and he gambles with her a little bit, and then pretty much, but then they kind of reconnected, and you find out why he didn't marry her, and then you also find out why she went away. This book, again, standard second chance romance trope. You know they get together at the end, because after all, if they don't get together, then why are we reading romances in the first place, right? But I have to tell you, like, this book, oh God, it's a 5-star read. I loved it. I will read it again. Lorraine Heat delivers every time. I've read about 30 books by her. I think 30. I've read a ton of her books. She delivers every time. This is so good. So good. I loved it. So good. It brought me out of my reading slump. It gave me everything I needed. Okay. So those are the romance that I read. And then I went into dark romance and I read one of my anticipated reads for the year in terms of on my 24 by 24, and that's American Prince. I was so excited about reading this. I've read American Queen. I've read several books by Sierra Simone. And this one I really wanted to read because when I read American Queen, I fell in love with Embry. I just felt like his character was broken. He was dark. He was also vulnerable and just loved Ash and Greer unconditionally. So I wanted to hear more about his story and I couldn't wait to get into this. So I started first listening to the audio because I'm trying to listen to more audiobooks. So I got it off Hoopla through my public library. I listened to the audio. However, I was struggling listening to the audio because apparently I don't like to listen to smut. And this book had a lot of it. So I was like, let me switch. So I switched. Maybe I listened to half of it via audio, then I switched and read the physical book. But this book definitely on one of my 24 and 24, so it gets cancels that off the list. And also because the library audio, that also kind of fulfills my requirement of 2 books from the library per month, and one of them being the audio of this. I was disappointed. I mean, I like his story and I like that he was definitely dark and really struggled. But I was very disappointed in that I just felt like it was mostly smut. Like every other page, somebody's getting it on. And that's just, it didn't give me what I wanted. And I think that because there was so much smut, I didn't get more out of it than I wanted as far as really finding out more about his life story. Even though they talked about it, but it didn't resonate with me the way that I thought it would. And also, there was a part in American Queen when he met Greer and they went on the little roller coaster ride and then and then he just kind of ghosted her. And I thought he would go more into why in this book, and he barely did. So I was a little disappointed. I gave it a 3 stars. However, I will read American Queen because I own it. It's here somewhere. Yeah, because I own it. So I'll definitely, not American Queen, American King, because I own it and I don't buy books to be buying them. I buy books to read them. It's somewhere here. I don't buy books I buy books to read them. So I will read it at some point, maybe sometime during the summer. There are other things that I want to read. So continuing with the dark romance, I read The Ever King, and that I read on Kindle Unlimited. And The Ever King is part of the Ever Sea series, where it's by L.J. Andrew, and I'll leave the card up here so you guys can see the information. And it's a continuation of The Broken Kingdom. So Broken Kingdom has 9 books, book 1 through 9. I didn't read any of The Broken Kingdom. However, you don't really need to read I didn't feel I needed to read The Broken Kingdom to kind of know what's going on here. However, somebody on my book club book group on Facebook said you really should read the book Broken Kingdom, and they were probably right. Maybe I should have. Anyway, this follows Eric and Livia. And so Eric's family in the Broken Kingdom, Eric's part of the Sea People. I think they're Sea People. So they're the Sea People and the Earth People. The Sea People and the Earth People, I guess they fought during the Broken Kingdom, and now the war's over. The Sea People have, they can't access the Earth People. And so Eric is part of the Sea People. He's a pirate. This is kind of like a Vikings-like world where one of my favorite shows is Vikings, the one on the Viking on History Channel, but also the ones on Vikings Valhalla. Oh my God, on Netflix, love it. And also this also does Something Kingdom that I also love on Netflix. So anything Vikings called, I am all for it. I love the Share Maidens. I think these women are badasses. I just love the Vikings, period. So this is sort of that where you have Eric Bloodsinger, I think that's his name, Bloodsinger, and Livia. And so Livia's family won, I guess, the war and supposedly killed Eric's father. And so Eric wants revenge. However, they have not been able to access the earth because there was some sort of like a ring that prevents the Sea People from entering the earth. And all of a sudden something happens and the wall or the little ring kind of disappeared, and now the sea people can access the earth people. And so Eric went into the earth land and then kidnaps Livia, who's, I guess, the princess of the land, and takes her to his home. Now, during the Broken Kingdom Wars, they connected. They were young children, and she really liked him. She was trying to converse with him. So they've met before, and now he kidnaps her. There's more to the story. I'm just giving you like very basic. And so this just follows them after he's kidnapped her. And there's some magical, mystical elements, but it was a very good story. I cannot rate this. And the reason why is that I was in a book slump when I was reading this. And it took me 16 days to read this book. It shouldn't have taken that long. I was just really in a funk the first couple of weeks in February. So because of that, I don't want to rate it. Plus, I'll read the Ever Queen, and I'll give that a chance. Because again, if I had to rate, I'd probably say 3.5, but I don't think it's the book. I think it was more me. So I definitely plan on continuing with the series. I believe there are 3 books. So I will read the Ever Queen. And at some point, I may go back and read the Broken Kingdom. So the 6th book that is it the 6th book? The 6th book that I read is The Never King by Nikki St. Crow. So this is really more of reverse harem. Apparently for centuries, the darling women, when they turn 18, they get kidnapped by these people. So this is also like a Peter Pan retelling, and it's Wendy and Peter or something. And so anyway, so Wendy Darling, her last name is Darling, her mothers and the women before her have always been kidnapped on their 18th birthday and taken to this mystical land. And so she was also kidnapped, and when she was 18, and she knew what's coming. Her mom has kind of warned her about it. And so she goes there, and the story kind of develops between her and these men that kidnapped her. This is not my kind of story. I'm sure some people like it. I won't be continuing with the series. It's just not for me. Yeah, if I had to rate it, I'll probably rate it maybe a 2 star. It's just not for me. And I don't know if I think that it just wasn't for me. So yeah. Then I went back to the Alliance series and kind of completed the Alliance series. So as you guys know, I've read Dom, Nero, King, and now I read Hans. Hans I enjoyed. And this really follows Cassie and Hans. So Cassie lives across the street from Hans, and he's more of a recluse, and and she would bring him cookies and crappy stuff that she baked, and he ate it. And I guess she was an Instagram or YouTuber or something, taking pictures of the things that she baked, and he would watch her. And so something happened where they eventually connect. I thought the story was a little flat, to be honest with you. Like I rated 3.5 stars. However, the epilogue gave me everything I wanted. So you see Nero and Nero and I can't think of who he was. I think Peyton. You see Nero and Peyton. You see King and Savannah, and then you see Dom and Val. So all the couples from the other books, this is the epilogue just kind of talks about what happened with them, and it was just so beautiful. Like I love the epilogue. The book itself was okay, but the epilogue gave me everything I wanted. But it was. I think that's the end of the series. I enjoyed it. I'm looking to read more by S.J. Tilly. I absolutely like her a lot. I think she's right now my favorite mafia romance author. I definitely have loved everything that I've read by her. So I'll go back and read some more of her backlist. So lastly, and look, I'm 18 minutes and 50 seconds. And when I edit this, I'll probably be about 15 minutes. So the last book that I read, and this was from the library, I actually listened to the audio, and it was The Teacher by Frida McFadden. I have not read anything by her. And I have The Housemaid. And I don't know what else. Oh, I also have the Inmates, which I'm reading right now. And I don't know, did I buy The Co-worker? I don't think I bought The Co-worker. I hadn't read anything by her. I read The Teacher. I listened to The Teacher. I did the audio, and the narrator was very good. The audio was amazing. It is a 5-star read for me. This month I had 4 5-star reads. The Teacher, 5-star. And I have to tell you what, the book was so good. It was, and again, look, it's not, is it the most brilliant literary fiction ever written on earth? Absolutely not. Did some aspects of the story fall a little bit flat and unbelievable? Absolutely. But let me tell you, was I entertained? Yes. Was it predictable? Absolutely not. Did I not want to put it down? Absolutely. I listened to that thing in less than a day. I couldn't stop listening to it. In fact, I think it was on Kindle Unlimited. I read some of it too when I couldn't listen. I couldn't stop. It was just amazing. And so what it does is that it follows Eve, and Eve is a teacher at a school. She's married to this hot teacher, right? And then you have Addie, who's a 16-year-old girl who apparently she had some sort of inappropriate relationship, in quotes, with one of her teachers last year who was fired, or he was forced to resign. And so it just kind of follows them. School starts and kind of following both of them and Addie. And as you kind of continue hearing the story, you're like, this is interesting. I don't want to give too much away. Go into it blind. I have to tell you, it is wild beyond. Even the end, like when it was over, I was like, and then it was like the last end. I'm like, oh, I did not expect that. It was not predictable. And maybe, again, it's one of my first thrillers. I don't read a lot of thrillers. I'm a historical romance, dark romance, mafia romance, right now, paranormal romance, romantasy. You get the drill, right? That's what I'm about. But this thriller had me wanting more. Like after I finished listening to the audio, I downloaded The Inmate, and I'm listening to it because I actually have the book. So I'm also listening to The Inmate. Frida McFadden brought it on. It was a 5-star read. I plan on reading everything else by her. I'm just going to go through her entire backlist because I was entertained. It was so good. Anyway, guys, so that's pretty much, these are the books that I read. It looks like I read 8 books, and not bad for someone who experienced a reading slump. Not bad at all. Because again, I didn't read the first half of the month. I read 1.5 books the first half of the month. And I still have Twisted Love that I'm reading that I haven't finished. So I'm hoping to finish that. So you get that sometime in March. You know, as always, new videos on my channel, Tuesdays and Fridays. I'm looking to, I think I'm going to start doing kind of mid-month wrap-ups just so that way these are not too long. And then I'd like to start doing a little bit more vlogs. I don't do a lot of vlogs. I mean, honestly, my life is not that interesting. I go shopping, I go to the coffee shop, I read books, I go to book clubs, I hang out with my friends. I was looking at my analytics and like 97% of the people who view my content are not subscribed. So please definitely subscribe because again, it helps kind of grow the channel. And I really want to build a community here. Separately, definitely check out my community posts because I've been really utilizing that space to post different things, to post my real-time thoughts. And if you're not already doing so, follow me on Instagram and also TikTok. I'm getting into TikTok. TikTok's a little complicated right now, but I'm starting to post there. I have like 4 things up, but I'm definitely spending a lot more time on Instagram. But yeah, these are the books that I read this month. These are the physical books, and then of course, the other books. These are the physical books that I read. If you like the kind of content that I give, please subscribe to my channel, and thanks for riding with me. I'll catch you on the next one.